This session is about release scheduling, environment planning. What we see here is the Kanban view of our release lifecycle. We can see all our releases in motion and in what status they currently reside. And the status that we're particularly interested in this session is the in scheduling status. We have a release, the March 2016 release, that is currently in the in scheduling status. It has gone through the in-scope definition as we have seen in the previous session. We have added projects and change requests that were approved by the advisory board to that release, and now it's gone in scheduling. So let's have a closer look at what happens and what we do in the in scheduling phase of a release. Our release 2199 is in scheduling, and we can see the projects that have been added in the scope definition, the change requests, they're all in the in scheduling phase, and we can see here already part of an environment plan. I have prepared this, and I have already requested time slots for my development, my test, and my QA environment to the environment owners, to the project environment owners for certain organizations, and they have approved my requests. So I'm building my environment plan with approved requests. We keep track of these requests in our release. So here you can see my test request that was approved, my QA that was approved, but I also had a QA request that was rejected. I can go and see that and just see that it was rejected because there were no servers available before the end of the request starting week. So I have also a trace of the environment requests that were refused. Environment requests that are refused won't be included in the environment plan, only the approved ones. But since I collaborated with the environment owner and sent them a new request that was approved, I now have an environment plan already for development, test, and QA. And in this session, we're going to add a request for a pre-production environment. This is one view. In the dashboard that we have included here for the release, we also have the calendar view. Sorry for that. So we have here the calendar view with the dates, the weeks, and the development, the test, the QA environment. We don't have the pre-production yet because this is the one that we are going to request. This is for a particular release, but making this environment plan makes it also directly available to all the release managers that have access to the release calendar and the release roadmap view. So if a release manager goes into the dashboard, the general dashboard about the release calendar, he will see that the 2016-03 for test, for development, for QA has been included. He can see on the release roadmap for the development test which releases will be in development and test for which weeks of the year, which release will be concurrent in that environment, so he can have a complete view of what I'm currently building as a release plan. It's already included in the view for the release manager. Going back to our release, we want to request now a time slot for a pre-production environment. We have a release that we have planned to go. The production date is by the end of March, so we are going to make a request for a pre-production environment. As you can see here, I've made a request for my pre-production environment for my release, and I have requested to have it like 2 weeks before the production date, have my release in the pre-production environment for final UAT or user testing. The environment owner who is assigned to it has a look at it and checks the dates, and he said, well, that's okay for me, so he will approve my request. Approving my request means that going back to my release here and refreshing my view, I now have my pre-production time slot that has been added to my environment plan. I have a related pre-production environment request that has been approved, and looking at my calendar view, I will see that my pre-production time slot has been added to the calendar, and that I have now an environment plan from development to pre-production, and the put in production date is by the end of March, so that's already planned for that date also. So my release is now scheduled. I have my environments needed, and I can go on and say, well, I have defined my scope, I have defined my environment plan, I have scheduled my release now. My release is ready for development. So I move on with my release and I just put it in ready for development, which has immediately as immediately following that we have automatic transitioning of the children of that release, which are the project and the change request in this case. So also the projects and change request automatically change the status and get transitioned to the ready for development state. So this is how we plan environments, how we schedule releases once they're ready, how we have automated transitioning of the related topics to the release to the next status, which is the ready for development status.